so excited, guys. Come over. We need to have a thorough conversation. We are now very close to SADC Summit. There's a lot of activities going on in Aurora as we speak. Literally, I've seen quite a number of meetings, happening in the city. So we need to have a chat on that one. So because we've had that Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Zambia, is boycotting SADC Summit, and we also have Charamba, who is all of a sudden exposing Mnangagwa. So we need to be talking about that tonight. So I come through, guys. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritties, if it is your first time to come across the channel, please do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you ring the bell so that every time we are live, you're going to be notified as well. And I also want to ask you to say, please don't forget to like the lesson. We push algorithm, invite everyone to the conversation. There's quite a number of people who are live with us right now on TikTok, and we're also live on YouTube. Come over, guys. We need to have a very, very thorough conversation. And by the way, I'm going to send some shout out to our regulars. Brian, good to see you. I'm going to say welcome, guys. Thank you for coming through. Please make sure that at least you like the live and also comment respectfully. I've told you, Tinobi, but good to see you. Please drop your location. Where are you watching us from? Very important. We have people just coming here. TikTok as well. It's on fire. Please like the live on TikTok as well as YouTube. Lucilla, Arnold, good to see you. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you. All right, so I just want to remind you about the donations, okay? Up until 78, I'm going to actually pin again that link for the donation, the GoFundMe. That man does not come to me, guys. Please, it just go straight to the Leadership for Citizen Coalition for Change. I'm simply pushing the, this whole, donation so that at least you guys can also be part and parcel of being a blessing to your brothers. Be a brother's keeper, because most of those people that are in prison, their families are starving, and we need to come together and be of blessing. Okay, so I'm going to share that link again in the description box, as well as pinning it in the comment section so that you guys can bless yourself. Okay, giving is very important. When you're giving, you're not giving someone else, you're actually planting a seed for yourself, so never forget that. All right, so Nelson Chamisa, okay, he's back with a bang. With a bang, he's back. So he sent out a message today. He said the hazards of a dictatorship. It's not easy to lead and run a political party in a dictatorship, especially without a budget and in an environment of extreme poverty. It's even worse when this is all in a context massive unemployment, where some occupy public office opportunistically mistaking citizens' representation and deployment for employment. It's a difficult environment. What an impossible task. But then to save is to sacrifice. Change must happen. The job will get done. So he's promised you the job will get done. And I can tell you, one thing I can just promise you today is that people are on fire. ZANU-PF does not see what's coming for them. People are on fire. I can tell you the energy is heavy, and the Zimbabweans are not taking it. They are saying it is death or the motherland. This time, you're going to kill all of us. You are going to kill all of us, because we are standing firm to demand that we get the freedom that we need. Kubakwanyanya, these people are stealing left, right, and center. And I'm going to say shout out to Guamatanga and Mutulingwe. Your thuggery behavior is well known, it's documented. I even heard allegations they're actually asking for kickback. Every time they send people out, they're asking for kickback. I want to say this to everyone who's on TikTok. I can't accept no invitation, because when I'm live on YouTube, I cannot do that at the same time. So please bear with me. All right, I'm going to also read a message that was sent out by Dr. Walter Muzembi. He said, Mwari chete ndiye anoziva vanenge varipo nevanenge vasipo muna 2030. Okay, zvawapiwa naShe gamuchira wovonga haikona kuenda mberi kwa Jehovah. Chimbobatanidzai vanhu nekusakurira nyika, mumbozorora vanhu ruzha rwematongerwe enyika nehavi dzenyu dzekuda kuramba muripo kunge zvinhata. Right? And I know he's referring to Idi Mnangagwa, and say, hold on, you are talking about 2030 or even more time, third term. Forget about that. Can we focus on fixing the country, and then we can actually discuss about the rest of the stuff a little bit later? Because this man is just focusing on power, nothing else. Power. While these guys are busy thieving and stealing, he's just focusing on how can I retain it. You can see the family is very and forth. The womb wife is also on a campaign trail. It's quite very interesting to watch. But here's the good news. Okay, the good news. So let me tell you, it's burning in Venezuela. You know that there were elections in Venezuela, and citizens are saying, no, these elections were rigged. It's burning. But what's fascinating about the elections in Venezuela is that the police force went down in solidarity with the citizens. They took off their uniforms. They said, we are sick and tired of being abused. They removed their uniforms. I talk about the police. I can only imagine police in Zimbabwe removing their uniform, the army throwing their uniforms and said, you know what, we are Zimbabweans before we become army or before we become police officers. We are Zimbabweans and we are going to stand for a principle. I'm just waiting for a day where the police and the army stand firm, with the people. Because the army in Zimbabwe have got a tendency of aligning with ZANU-PF, the police as well. Then I'm asking questions. I'm like, you're not security guards for ZANU-PF thugs, right? You aren't their security guards. So please, take us serious. But like I said to you, this is where we are heading now. The protests are coming up. We're going to get into the details a little bit later on. But now the SADC Summit started on a terrible, embarrassing approach. Okay. And one thing that Mnangagwa, the president, don't realize is that he's actually the one that's going down here. It's embarrassing. It started on what an embarrassment notch. Now you're going to hear one of the director mission. I think she's actually the chairperson of the head mission of the African Development Bank. Humiliated them. I want to take a listen to her. What an embarrassment. Like it started so badly. I don't know. One thing that ZANU-PF does not realize is that things are just so bad to a point where there is nowhere to hide. You cannot hide anymore. They ruined stuff and they've ruined to the core and you can't hide. Please take a listen.
Let's look at the infrastructure. Let's revise them. Because, for example, railways, a lot of our goods are being transported using. Let's look at the infrastructure. Let's revise them. Because, for example, railways, a lot of our goods are being transported using road, and it's just decimating our roads. It's also not efficient. So let us try and revitalize our railways. This is something that the ADB has been very keen on doing within the sub-region. We see Zimbabwe as a very key interlocutor for railways. In fact, I was speaking to the Minister of Transport of Mozambique to say, yes, you have a very nice railway that gets to the border, but if we don't tackle the railway system in Zimbabwe, then your investment will not be efficient.
Did you hear that? If we do not tackle the railway in Zimbabwe, then the investment is definitely blocked. What an embarrassment. This is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And I'm like, what was all cleaning up and building the villas for if you can't even build a railway line? You are building new villas, and now before even that meeting started, it hasn't even started at all. You're already being embarrassed. You don't even have a railway line. Did you see our trains? Did you even see last time when people were watching Sakura, my railway lines like this? China, and all they do is jumping up and down and build new villas. What a shame. It is an embarrassment. These people have failed to the core. But I'm glad that even SADC people can see this is just, it's a joke. It is a flipping joke. Imagine building a new house for Maenzi and your children are moving around with the buttocks, garari panzi. Okay, God help me. The buttocks, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. They don't think. It's a shame. But I'm glad now SADC can actually see why Zimbabweans are upset. They can see why it's always an embarrassment, especially on social media. Whenever they're trying to lie, people are standing firm and saying, no, you are lying. This is not what's going on down in Zimbabwe. Not even schools are a mess. Plastic at schools. Kids are staying, my desk dinner. And you see them when they're showing off their Gucci online. They are brand new cars, Rolls Royce. Man, that they are looting. But I'm telling you that they endorse, payments where there are no goods. Hey, I can't wait for Vamatanga and Mutunya behind bars. I can't wait to see these two men behind bars. Because it's coming. They don't see it. They are too comfortable. Did you see Vamatanga when he was getting into parliament? Working with this big... Now, Vamatanga is not a huge man. He's living big and large. But anyway, it's coming to an end soon. It's coming to an end. Now I'm going to read a tweet that was sent out by Hopo Chingon attaching that very same video. He said the 7th SADC Industrial Week kicked off in Harare today. The African Development Bank head of mission in Zimbabwe told the truth that we always say on this page. Moono Mupotola said Zimbabwe is the sick man of the region as she explained how Mozambique's railway investment is let down by Zimbabwe's rotten railway system. Our country remains the laughingstock of the region due to Mnangagwa's corrupt regime that is central to the looting of public funds and plunder of the country's natural resources. We have a president who has been globally sanctioned for corruption and is at the heart of the criminal syndicates that are looting the money meant for railway buildings. It is clear that Zimbabwe's outdated railway system is hindering the country's ability to capitalize on potential economic opportunities, such as the proposed tripartite rail project between Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Botswana that Moono Mupotola was talking about. In order for Zimbabwe to become a more active and prosperous member of the regional community, it is important for the government to address corruption. The president simply needs to stop his corruption network from looting the country's treasury. He has bled the country dry. Until Mnangagwa understands this, corruption will remain a significant obstacle to Zimbabwe's progress. Many African leaders that I have spoken to are fed up of how Mnangagwa's corrupt rule has taken Zimbabwe and the region backwards. At least everyone can see now that this regime has taken the country to the gutter. The country to the gutter. What is so interesting is whenever I speak to people who are either in Zimbabwe or who have traveled to Zimbabwe, they always tell me, these people are powerful. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, what do you mean by that? Oh, they are powerful. Wherever they go, they command, they're just controlling everything. I'm saying, hold on, do you know what power looks like? Power does not command, right? Power don't command anything. Power speaks when you don't even say anything. When you have to command people to respect you, then you must know that you are the weakest person on earth. If you have to kill to get respect from the people, then there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that in the Zimbabwean society, there's this Mbinga culture that we captivated. But you know what it does? It's killing us. It's destroying our society because we are just selling a lie to each one of us. We are simply lying to one another. You know what I'm saying? Those that don't have a clue of what management is or leadership is are the ones that are at the forefront. And the entire educated society is just at the backward sitting and watching. This is why I'm saying wisdom is profitable to direct. If we don't stand up Zimbabweans across the board and across the world and stand firm and begin to say, no, not this one here. This is not who we are. And I speak openly and boldly to everyone in Zimbabwe. We should include those ones that are moving around and said, oh no, we are hot people. Shut up. Sit down. Shut up. Leadership doesn't work like that. If you go around and abusing people, you think you're powerful, wait until we topple you because we are coming for you. And we mean business, we're not joking. We're coming. The Zimbabwean people are fed up. You can't tell me with how rich Zimbabwe is, we can't even build a railway line. We can't. Guys, we cannot. The town is filthy. My buildings, kutangakawakwa in 2015. In 1500s. But I know in 1979, Zimbabwe was gorgeous, clean, pristine when Smith was a leader. Until this ZANU-PF corrupt regime, landed in those positions, it has been a mess. It has been a mess. There must just something that doesn't make sense. It's a mess. All right. And then Hopo went on to say, I have said many times that Zimbabwe needs a working railway system for the economy to grow. The African Development Bank manager, Moono, repeated the same thing today at the SADC industrial meeting in Harare. ZANU-PF destroyed Zimbabwe's railway system and has no desire to fix this problem because ZANU-PF politicians are in the transport business. owning lorry companies, the cost of moving goods around Zimbabwe is now very high because road motor transportation is very expensive than railway transport. This has damaged our roads, as the African Development Bank official states in this video. There are lots of trucks moving, things that should have been moved by rail. The neglect of the railway infrastructure, largely due to political interests and corruption, has had insignificant consequences, not only for the transportation costs, but also for the maintenance of roads and the overall efficiency of the economy. This all comes down to not only the incompetence that we see in Mnangagwa's regime, but also his huge insatiable appetite for corruption, using multiple criminal cartels to loot public funds and plunder the country's natural resources. Overcoming these challenges will require not only a shift in the political will, but also a concerted effort to tackle corruption and promote accountability at all levels of government. Regional leaders are complaining about Mnangagwa's failure to deal with the railway system because it is costing their countries more to move goods within the region, because Zimbabwe's railway system is not fit for purpose. I feel so embarrassed. Honestly, how many people feel so embarrassed to be Zimbabwean? I feel embarrassed to be Zimbabwean. I really do feel embarrassed, honestly, because the things that we feel are small things. When you hear the amount of monies that are being looted, you're like, but we're not even poor at all. Zimbabwe is filthy rich. We are not poor. But we have leaders who don't, no, they're not even leaders. We just simply have a cartel that is there to loot. They don't have a clue of what leadership is about. Because, if they had leadership, they don't have to hire thugs to be killing, abduct, torture, inject poison. But the fact that they're not leaders, they use force. Because that's what they think is leadership. No, that's not leadership. This is why I've always been saying the people that advise President Emmerson Mnangagwa, honestly, you are to be blamed. You are to be blamed. Sometimes you do the right thing. I do remember Trevor Ncube said, when I was trying to advise Mnangagwa, I realized that, no, this guy was going down. And I was like, no, I don't want to be part of this. I resigned. Imagine all of you resigning and say, sir, you are not going the right path. He automatically introspect. But imagine whatever he does, there are people are singing for their Sapa, bootlicky shoes, and yeah, everything is okay. You've seen this boy sing. We want you to stay. Stay where? Doing what? It's just a dream. It is just a dream because it will never happen. It's a dream. Do you think people are going to keep Mnangagwa considering what's going on right now? And I'm saying this with all respect. President Emmerson Mnangagwa, do you think if you were in our shoes, okay, let's change positions now. You were a Zimbabwean, a Zimbabwean citizen, and we're behaving exactly what you're doing. Were you going to keep us in power? Sometimes we just need to introspect, don't we? Which includes your children. Let's just swap spaces. If one of your son was sitting one, you send him like Goredema, whatever the case may be, and it's me and my family who are doing exactly what you're doing there, were you going to accommodate us? To carry on, doing all the nonsense and still want more time in power? Definitely not, right? But I think for some reason, you feel like Zimbabwe should just accommodate anything and just accept anything. There must be something not right here. Right, now moving on, we're talking about the SADC Summit. Okay, we have heard it's already started on the wrong path. We all see it. It's bad, right? It's bad. Now, people on YouTube need to like the live. Okay, why is still here? A lot of people, almost 300 something people just join us, like the live, push algorithm. We need to start having conversation, thorough ones, and we are not playing. We mean business here. Gone are the days where we have to be afraid. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm afraid of failing to fulfill purpose. That's what I'm afraid of. Just imagine waking up tomorrow not having a job because I can't just be. Because I'm afraid of thugs, right? If God has said I must be owning the most successful entertainment business in Zimbabwe, and with my big mouth, now I can't do it because I don't know what to say, not what to say. I'm living in fear. That's what I'm afraid of, but I'm not afraid of human beings. I'm afraid of my purpose, not fulfilling purpose. And I'm sure Zimbabweans are afraid too. This is why people leave the country, because they're like, no, I can't remain in this place any longer. Poverty is not who I am, right? People want change. They want to fulfill purpose. Now, George Charamba is nothing but an embarrassment, exposing Mnangagwa. I can tell you. One thing about ZANU-PF is that they forget so easily. They forget so easily, right? George Charamba is on record. I told you last time, right? Confirming that the COM report of that fraudulent election that happened last year. I mean, you saw, first of all, we knew something was just wrong with the election. We saw it. I mean, they were pointers to the fact that the election was not, failed to meet the criteria of a free and fair and credible election. But apart from that, now fast forward, we're now hearing all this past month, the issue of what happened within the SADC systems, with Divine. All right, now our eyes are open. I have got my friends, some of Zimbabwean people who are so adamant and very, very much, resolute. They went to some of these companies in South Africa to inquire and taking videos. All right, we also heard that even in South Africa as well, the very same company is the one that caused a mess. Even though South Africans just came to the table, which what people were expecting from President Mnangagwa immediately after this war shenanigans, that he could have said, Chamisa, come over here, come over here. I know, a wise person, how do you play the game? Come over, let's work together. Bring some of your ministers, and I'm going to have my own ministers. Let's build this country together. Chamisa tried to reach out to them for a dialogue, and they kept on pushing back. You remember Mchanga on record say, we don't want to hear anything. Chamisa should firstly acknowledge that we've won an election, knowing well that there was no election that they've won, but they want him to believe in a lie, right? Hoping that you can build a country on a platform of lying and deception. Now, you see, right? Now, I hope Mchanga can now remember, if you could have just do the right thing, maybe you wouldn't be in this embarrassment state that he is in, which include his son going to prison. He went to jail and was locked up for some time. He came out, now he's quiet. Prison is not a joker. They've ruined everything. So what do you expect? Now, George Charamba, forget. He completely forgot that last year, he was on record telling SABC that the COM report is going to be discussed during the SADC Summit. He's forgotten. They're already talking about something different because he thought he was smart. We're going to listen to Mr. George Charamba, the spokesperson in the president's office. You call me a permanent secretary. Well, I don't know whatever you call them because I don't really care. These guys are useless. So they're simply a waste of my time. I don't even think they deserve positions. Take a listen.
Presidential spokesperson George Charamba has launched a scathing attack on the SADC Election Observer Mission head, Neves Mumba, when he says he went beyond the SADC protocol in relation to compiling the SADC Observer Mission election report in Zimbabwe elections.
We are seeing an enthusiastic chairman of a process which is in fact a SADC one. He does not report to the Zambian people, which is why we all were flabbergasted to find him spending as much as more than 2 hours on a national television. Who is he reporting to? This is a SADC mission, for goodness sake, appointed by the chairman of a SADC organ, not a SADC summit, SADC organ. Right? What it means is the preliminary report still has to, become a final report.
And it is a final
And when it becomes a final report, it still has to be tabled before a council of ministers, which is really a body which brings together foreign ministers of SADC.
Of the trade?
Yes. No, it is actually, it could be large actually. Right? So there's a council of ministers, and it's probably meeting around February, March. Right? Then when that has happened, then the foreign ministers must look at that report. They will then push it upwards to the SADC Troika, which will be around or thereabout. Right? It still has to come to summit.
Yes.
And this will be about August next year. Right? It is only at summit that that report is tabled, discussed, amended, endorsed, or rejected. And I have news for you. That SADC summit will be here in Zimbabwe.
All right.
And it is the summit that will ensure that the president of Zimbabwe, who presently is the deputy chair of SADC, then becomes the chair of SADC. So really, all these noises are unprocedural, first and foremost. But they are the constituents they are meant to appease and placate, which is the constituents that in fact send us a hard gun pretending to be a chairperson. But it also teaches us a lesson. When you have a process that creates a head of state, that creates a government, that creates peace or creates war in a society, does it make sense for us to leave decisions around the constitution of a SADC observer mission to a single person minding a subsidiary body of summit? Maybe that's a conversation which we must start as Zimbabwean just as well. And look, let's look in the crystal ball. We have a minimum of 3 nations who are set to go for elections. We can't proceed to Eswatini for their next elections with this mess, where a chairman decides to abuse his office and destabilize a nation. Right? But let me make it very, very clear. The president has made it clear to his counterpart in Zambia that whatever the excesses of the chairman of the observer mission of SADC, that should never be allowed to injure the excellent relations between Zambia and Zimbabwe, between President Mnangagwa and President Hichilema. We must protect that bilateral relationship, but use the weaknesses we've seen in this mission to set right that which has to be corrected within our procedures in SADC. And that is the mission ahead.
All right, so that is George Charamba on record confirming that the COM report is going to be discussed during the SADC Summit in Harare. All right. Now, you will hear Gift Osalos also confirming the same thing, that they actually responded to Chamisa, but we'll get to that story a little bit later on. So now, where are we? Where are we now that, the first thing that they were reporting was that SUOM report was a lie. Now, and at that time, he didn't even know that day will come, right? It was trying to kind of just throwing Dr. Mumba as if he was this lying guy. He's calling him a hired gun, that he was hired to actually lie on behalf of Hichilema. Really? Really? You know what is so interesting is that Zimbabweans know that these people actually the lying ones. They are the liars. So I find this very weird that, they try so hard to actually tarnish Hichilema, knowing well that they are the problem. We all know they're the problem. Mnangagwa's regime is the problem. It's known across SADC that they are the problem. They may not be told by their friends. I'm talking about the liberation friends. But everyone, like these upcoming leaders, know that ZANU-PF is a problem. Today I actually saw where German said, if you know how white people are milking Zimbabwe in the agriculture sector, in the mining, they talk about South African white people, how they are milking Zimbabwe to dry, right? But then people don't want to have that discussion. Yeah, they don't want to discuss the truth. They want to lie to Zimbabweans like, no, but everything is okay. He's a hired gun. What can he say about it's a sovereign country? No, hold on. As the Zimbabwean people, we saw that fraudulent election. We witnessed it. And so you can't come and think that the observer mission were lying. Right now, here we are. Let's see what's going to happen. Now, people are saying, want to hear the discussion in Harare. We are all following the story. What's going to be happening, right? But we also hear that Hichilema may boycott this SADC Summit. He actually boycotted the World Life Summit, that happened this past week. He did not turn up. He actually sent a representation. So I'm going to read that the article that was sent out by the Zim Live, that Hichilema boycotts World Life Summit with Mnangagwa, news in Harare, right? So, Hakainde Hichilema on Thursday boycotted a 3-nation wildlife conservation summit in Harare in his continuing diplomatic spat with the Zimbabwe's leader, Emmerson Mnangagwa. Hakainde has been expected to attend the signing ceremony of the Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Zambia Transfrontier Conservation Area Memorandum of Agreement, but sent his tourism minister instead. Mnangagwa and Mozambique's Felipe Nyusi represented their 2 countries. Hichilema has called for mediation between Zambia and Zimbabwe after Mnangagwa, unaware his comments would be made public, told Russian President Vladimir Putin on a trip to Moscow in June that posed a security threat to his country through its growing military links with the United States. You know the story about Mnangagwa and Putin. You remember the story, right? Yeah. As the Zimbabwe and Zambia have been locked in a simmering diplomatic tiff since long-term opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema assumed power in 2021, defeating incumbent Edgar Lungu, who enjoyed the support of Mnangagwa's ZANU-PF. Hichilema was part of an alliance of regional opposition parties, which included the Movement for Democratic Change in Zimbabwe, and Mnangagwa's government suspects he has been channeling financial assistance to his rival, which means Nelson Chamisa. the road depend after Zimbabwe as a disputed election in August 2023 when a SADC election observation mission headed by Zambian National Nevis member concluded that the polls were not held according to the regional and international standards on democratic elections anchoring Mnangagwa. But honestly, sometimes I know ZANU-PF is just difficult for nothing. But they all know what happened. Now we've got the truth. There was never an election. People just took the money, shared the money among their friends, which was, I heard Chigumba was also robbed in the issue, the DG, the CIO as well, a lot of people, and there was some of the monies that were actually donated to the church, that was the Zion church, which can show you that they simply take money from the state and they do their thing, and they, you go and buy cars if you want to, we just want to live large and, buying Louis Vuitton handbags, and the daughter-in-laws are showing off on social media, living all fancy, why not? When they're dealing with food, they think they're dealing with fools. That's what they're thinking, right? We also hear that the wife for Hichilema boycotted again this war gastronomy. I don't know, guys, can you tell me what this gastronomy is all about? That first lady, Auxilia is dealing with. What's she about? What is this? What does gastronomy really means? What is she referring to? But she also sent out a message. She said, I express deep appreciation to my fellow first ladies from Serbia. She mentioned all manner of ladies that attended, but that was excluding the wife to Hichilema, because people have been saying, be very careful. Zimbabwe's got a history of, of this poisoning, whatever. I remember when I traveled to Zimbabwe, people were like, don't even eat nothing in their hotel at all. I'm like, no, the people that have tried to poison me before it didn't work. They tried it, but it did not work. I'm still here. They will never win. With me, they will never win. God goes before me and make all the crooked ways straight. So they'll never win. But I can see that she did not turn up. That is the wife to Hichilema. And people say she boycotted the entire meeting, and the reason were, personal reasons, which is again, Majara Jaros is writing a message. He said, if ever Hichilema's wife, Miss Hichilema, is going to attend this regional forum on gastronomy tourism starting tomorrow in Victoria Falls and being championed by Zimbabwe's first lady, which is Auxilia Mnangagwa, she must be careful with serving her food. Maybe by not attending, she will avoid a lot. And he went on to say it was very important that Miss Hichilema did not attend even if Zambia shares Victoria Falls, where the gastronomy event was held with Zimbabwe. It was not worth attending. Why swim with crocodiles? South Africa's first lady also absconded for a reason better known to herself. Which I'm going to say, for me, if I was a first lady, and honestly, if you're an authentic, and sometimes, your principles can tell you no, you know what I'm saying? No. If I was a first lady among these people and knowing what's going on in Zimbabwe, know what these people are really doing to their own citizens, I was not going to attend. No, I was not going to attend. So, looking at my lady, the wife to Ramaphosa, no, she's too classy for that. No, she was like, no, sorry. No. And the Hichilema was like, no, it's only those that they're lying to, hoodwinking. But, those that are really closer to home, they can see how Zimbabweans are suffering under their nose. Some people sleep with, on empty stomachs, and they're still going to be lying. All right, and saying, oh, we're doing all this gastronomy, we are giving people, just woodwinking fools. But as far as I know, Zimbabweans are wiser. They're not going to take it. Even if the first lady can listen to me saying this, ma'am, let me tell you, you can't woodwink people any longer. You need to check the season. Things have changed. Zimbabweans can't tolerate your lies anymore. Be people of truth. Okay, be people of truth. Stop playing with our lives. We've got destinies and purpose to fulfill, right? I think you've done your mess already. Please, do us a favor and just leave in peace. In peace, right? Because I know women are very powerful. You know how to deal with men sometimes. And I'm expecting you to do the right thing and just leave us alone in peace. At least we can restart. This issue of you coming around and saying one more time, please, ma'am, please. Please, for the life of me. No more time from Zimbabweans. Just go in peace. We will respect you. If you do that, honestly, I'm going to honor you for that. Right, and you also know that ZANU-PF thrive on deception, right? They're deceiving people all the time. Deceiving, lying, they're very good at lying. Do you even know that old people are sleeping outside in Mutare to withdraw money? People sleeping outside so they can be able to have access to funds in 2024. This is the Mnangagwa's regime and his legacy and his friends. But you saw them showing off money all over the place. Vana Wikino Shiva, his sons, the friends, Vana Scott Sapanya. But the elders are sleeping outside to access money. Again, hope watching want to send out that message. In fact, I'm the one who actually tagged him when I saw that tweet. And then he wrote out the message. He said, these are old people sleeping outside banks in Zimbabwe during the cold African winter in the eastern border town of Mutare. This is what Mnangagwa's regime doesn't want you to see. These old people are sleeping outside banks to collect their poultry pensions, right? It is distressing to think that individuals who have dedicated a huge portion of their lives to the country are left to endure such challenging cold conditions to access their rightful pensions. How can you say you liberated a country and then treat your vulnerable elderly population like this? This is evil. And I endorse the message. It's a wickedness. Even what do they call you? You people, a group of those that are moving around and be threatening and listen to things and go report whatever, whoever you are, like whoever you are, brothers and sisters. Your parents are sleeping on the streets. Sometimes you need to remove all this politics nonsense. This is why I don't want to hear about political parties. I want to hear about a Zimbabwe that functions. We've been plagued long enough under the guise of political parties. And now we are done. Tukula is Zimbabwe that works. I mean, imagine in 2024, people sleep outside to get access to their pension funds. And do not forget, some of the monies were looted. How many millions? I remember almost 100 million US dollars was looted. You know that woman, Priscilla, who went to prison, it was also the issue of people's monies. And she was declared insanity. And now she was declared insane, but she's not insane at all. She's back on the streets, and she's been in parliament. Actually, I heard that she's a minister or something, parliament minister, whatever, whoever she is. And the person that was declared insane after all the money that was looted. It's deception. They thrive on lying to people, and they think they'll get away with it. No, your time is coming, memes. Yes, sirs. And Zimbabweans are not playing games. It's coming. Now we're going to move on. Talk about gift hostility. Again, speaking about what's going to be happening during the SADC Summit. They're asking him about the protests, of which he didn't want to say much. But as far as I know, protests are coming. And I also hear that most of the security sectors are going to be in support of the citizens to say, hey, we are done. Because I can see what Mnangagwa is doing with his friends. We're not benefiting anything, Zimbabweans. This is why I've been saying to police Zimbabwe, you are not ZANU-PF security guards. And which includes the army as well. Guys, do the right thing for Zimbabwe. Look what's happening in Venezuela. Police guys are removing their uniforms and say, no, we can't carry on like this being abused by politicians. We deserve a functioning economy. And I'm saying this to you, to say, guys, you can do the same. Standing with the citizens for the betterment of this country. We're all going to benefit at the end, right? Let's work together. Now we're going to listen to Ostalosi talking about SADC. He said he's speaking on his own behalf. He's not speaking on behalf of Chamisa, but you also don't forget Chamisa wrote a letter to SADC, right? And they responded to him. Now I'm sure, like what George said, they may be talking about the very SOM report. But again, ZANU-PF being ZANU-PF and how toxic they are. And I also heard people alleging that some people are being given monies. Like these SADC delegates are being given money so they can be in support of all these wrongs that are going on in the country. We'll listen to Gift Ostalos. Take a listen, please.
Going forward, and we own up all those mistakes that we've made and assist with an agenda to correct them. But one can't weaponize those to try and justify ZANU's illegal, violent, sadistic capture of the opposition through willing tools because of trinkets and trappings of power. The question on SADC, I told you when I was talking about building a critical mass A critical mass helps such regional bodies to ensure that when SADC brings its report, what are the ordinary Zimbabweans saying about their own destiny? So it must be a coalition, or it must be a collective effort of the position of the regional bodies. We have to exhaust procedurally the Zimbabwean case. Goes to Troika, and Troika sets the agenda for the summit, and summit discusses issues. And I think that Honorable Great Satchwayo is more knowledgeable about the processes and how SADC deals with matters of its member states, and particularly the report. I know that without doubt that there was a response that came from SADC to President Chamisa by virtue of him being the one who wrote to SADC as a participant of the election. But the presidency...
And is it something, that happened, recently? Because according to that letter, he was waiting for a reply. So are you saying that a reply came now, the second one?
Yeah, there was a response that was fitting into what SADC has to be doing, but that's a remit that the presidents will have to speak on, so that I don't deviate from my core understanding of the question about the role of SADC. But I believe that it must be complemented, and I've said this publicly, and I'll say today that everyone who's worried about Zimbabwe, for example, we have been to South Africa, we know the views of the African nation away from the propaganda that some of these low-ranking politicians in ZANU want to say about ANC's position on ZANU-PF and Zimbabwe in particular. We know their position. Zimbabwe is not a foreign policy issue to South Africa. It is a domestic issue. You get the point? So we know, and we've had conversation about how ANC thinks about the problems in Zimbabwe from its historical contribution and role in Zimbabwe's challenges of transitions. So it's important to have that understanding, but at the end of the day, the power must reside with the people of Zimbabwe to decide, for us as Zimbabweans to decide our destiny and collective effort.
So are you also saying that, there's this issue about, protest in the coming, I think, in August. So what is the position there? You as an organization, I don't know which organization now, because I meant, to ask you as well about, the Blue Movement, what is going on. But, what is the position vis-a-vis, that point whereby, there are people that are saying they're going to be, demonstrating during the SADC, summit?
Look, the question on whether people want to demonstrate or not is in the constitution of this country since Section 59. It is provided for by the constitution. It must not be about... If the alternative wants to pronounce itself, which it hasn't, and I wouldn't want to pronounce any position because I was speaking my own mind, and I don't have that mandate to speak my mind about... I've spoken my view about how Zimbabweans ought to deal with the questions, and how as Zimbabweans, so that I don't seem like I'm not a Zimbabwean, how as a people we ought to deal with the challenges that confront us. I think if Zimbabweans pronounce themselves, I'm not aware of any demonstration as you are speaking about. But I know that the freedom to petition and demonstrate is provided for by the Constitution. And if different organizations want to either to process, do procession or anything, they have to pronounce themselves. It's not a secret. It's not. It has to be pronounced. And if organizations ought to pronounce themselves, I'm sure they will. But I know that it is something that is provided for by the Constitution. Let me conclude by thanking fellow Zimbabweans on behalf of the alternative in this country. I want people to understand that we always want people to have an understanding that our struggle is not a one-day wonder. It's a struggle that is protected, that has been facing its own challenges and problems. We ought to forge ahead. I want to thank Zimbabweans, both offline and online. We've continued to support the presidency, the leadership, the stewardship of President Chamisa and the alternative in this country, both in these spaces and offline. Ordinary people bestowed trust on President Chamisa and the CCC, and that is not something that we take for granted. It's something that humbles some of us, but that also gives us a sense of responsibility about how we treat matters of our engagement with the politics in our country. If we get tired, which is understandable, we will tell the Zimbabwean people that, look, for me as Ostalos as an individual, I am tired. President Changra used to say, kana waneta garapa muti, utu wakona mbofamba itozo kutura ite hakudzoka. There is no need to undermine the collective struggle because we are tired or you are on a twilight stage. You also ought to understand that Antonio Gramsci was clear. The old is dying, and it must allow the new to be born. ZANU-PF ought to understand. We respect their contribution to the liberation project, but the transformational struggle is in our shoulders, and we'll prosecute it without fear or favor. So those who differ within and without ought to understand that that is a struggle that some of us are committed to. And we know, and we've always said to younger people, we are also going to lead the stage at some point. We've been taught a culture of transitions as a people. We can't be there forever. We have to lay a ground for others. We ought to understand that we're not going to be heroes of, I don't know what the next generation struggle is all about. Maybe they're going to be struggle about animal rights and other things. But we have to understand that, look, comrades, we have taken you from here. These are the lessons, carry forward. That's what the struggle is all about. We retire, we go to the academy and celebrate with our kids. That's what some of us desire, because politics must not be a career choice, but it must be, as President Swangai would say, born out of a burning desire to see change in our country, and there's a patriotic necessity. And I want to also say, Zimbabweans, all of you have a role to play. Never let anyone undermine your role, whether you're in Zimbabwe on the ground or you are online. All of us contribute progressively and together to development of our country. Yes, we hold differences. Yes, we might not agree in some of the tactics and strategies, but our collective agenda as a people is to see change. And that change, we have no doubt that under the stewardship of President Chamisa, Zimbabwe's political crusader with a motion vision, we're going to economically liberate our people and change their concrete lives. Thank you very much, fellow Zimbabweans. Thank you, Uncle Get, for hosting us.
All right, so that was Uncle Jet actually on X. So you can also follow him on X as well. Gerard, yeah, it's doing incredible work, honestly, incredible work. Talking to different politicians, as far as Mo is concerned. I also saw there was actually a meeting on X today discussing about Mutulime. Why is it he refused to actually take questions in Parliament? He just he spoke about the budget and then left at Guamatanga. These people are so disrespectful. Like there must be something going on with Mutulime and Guamatanga. I don't know. You see when you're taking money that you don't know, never worked for, you think you're bigger than the people that actually worked for the money. We, the people, we worked for the money, and they're just taking and having 500 slave queens in town. You can't believe it. All right, so Nelson Chamisa now sent out a very interesting message today. He said, a cheated and betrayed man who is rebuilding himself is a dangerous man. Wow, that's a lot. A cheated and betrayed man who is rebuilding himself is a dangerous man. I think I kind of understand what he means. Have you ever been betrayed by people and you're coming back? Yeah, I know how to play the game. Yeah, if you mess up with me, I'll come back like a lion. I can pull back like I'm stupid, and I'll begin to plan and strategize, and I come back stronger. I'll take my time. So I understand that, sir. Take your time. Take your time. We are waiting. Take your time. I'm sure every politician is strategized. There's also Kasukura on the other side is strategized as well. We are waiting. Come over, guys. Whatever it takes for us to have the free Zimbabwe, it must happen now. There's also Chapman as well. This Linda Masarahedi, she said she needed about 2 weeks break. She's not well. She's taking care of her family. Guys, all of you are politicians. Wait. Come together. We need to free this country for the betterment of our future. Children, the leaders of our country. We must also remember that we have a lot to offer to the next generation. So forget about this political thing. Come together. Let's work together and make sure we have the Zimbabwe that we want. Now the church is also coming really, really, seriously against President Mnangagwa's third term desperation. They said, no, we're not going to accept that. Mnangagwa needs to leave according to the constitution. We don't want him there. And you see, the thing is, I told you that Mnangagwa is overrated, and I've told you. He's overrated because I think we just don't know how to speak to him in a proper way. And let me explain to you. We don't need to discuss here. He just need to go. The constitution says what, Mr. Sir? There's nothing fancy, and what makes him wants more time? What is so unique about him? You know, all these leaders respect the constitution. You saw what happened in South Africa. You know, they simply throw their votes there. You win, you win. You out, you out. It's that simple. But there must be something about these guys that they want to keep us at ransom for decades, suffering while we're losing our minerals to individuals who are just doing their thing. I was shocked that actually they're giving South Africa water, and our people can't even afford water to drink. The lack of respect for Zimbabweans is what pisses me off. That's why I always said, the deep state, why do you allow these people to walk on top of your heads like that? They disrespect. No, stand firm and defend this land, the land of Zimbabwe. Stand firm. That's where we are now. We are not folding. You think we're joking? No, we're not joking. We're not joking. Come on. We're not joking. Zimbabweans across the world are not joking. Mnangagwa has to go. What? You want more time to do what? To keep us in... Listen, let me tell you. If you think... Let me just tell you. You want to keep a person like this in power? Today it's me, tomorrow it's you. Every Zimbabwean is not safe under the leadership of Mnangagwa. We have people who are innocent, who are simply having bribe. They are locked up. What do you expect from a person who don't even respect the rules? This is why people are questioning, is Mnangagwa really an attorney? Because if he's genuinely went to school and become an attorney and understand the rules, he should respect the constitution of Zimbabwe. And the prayer is, we pray that he gets to 2028. And we just pray. Because the way he's behaving doesn't seem like someone who wants to let go. And I mean, even these children, boys, where are you? What's your name? Collins, the junior, and Sean. Hey, you know the rules, don't you, boys? Talk to daddy. Talk to daddy like dad. I can talk to my daddy too. Talk to him. Sir, you have done your part. Can we let this go in peace? Don't be afraid of people. Some people say he's going to kill. Kill then? Are you not going to die? Who's not going to die? Who's going to live forever? Nobody. What's up, Mundisirwe? Relax. The Constitution says 2 terms. Not only if you want to change the Constitution, it doesn't benefit the incumbent, which means it doesn't benefit Mnangagwa. The rules cannot be turned for a person. What? Okay, let's just change the positions. If it was me and my son and my family, we are forcing ourselves to be there. What do you do? What would you do? You say you must go, isn't it? Yeah, the same way can be done to him as well. Let's have a society that respects the rules. Notwithstanding your name, where you come from, who your parents is, what you have, whatever ammunition you hold. Because remember, the guns are not cheap. People can also get the guns. I'm simply saying no, we can't carry on being abused like this. Not anymore. We are Zimbabweans. That land belongs to our forefathers as well. All of us. We can't be abused by one man and his family. No, we cannot. We cannot. You people stand firm. Men, stand firm and defend the city. Us women, we are ready to cook for you. Like they did in pre-1980. Right? We can cook for you. We need to win this war. We can lose. He has to go. Unfortunately, he has to go. And I'm not joking. The brother has to go. He's done his part. No. He's still young for this job. Yeah, he's getting younger by day. I'm going to be respectful now. He's getting younger by day. We need someone else. That's what I'm saying. If you're the so-called CIO, whatever intelligence, you call your names. If you're here, hear me out. You need to, when you meet in your meetings, know that we are not going to back down. We don't want any more this abuse. We can't have innocent people locked up, which includes a 1-year-old sweetheart, the baby, locked up. No, I'm sorry to say this Mnangagwa was not a leader. No, he's not a leader. That's why he needs to go. Now, there's this page here. It's called, I don't know how to pronounce. Actually, let me try to see if I can pull the meaning here. It's called Children of Zimbabwe War Veterans. Okay, yes, War Veterans Association, I think. It posted that at this rate of panicking by this man, is referring to Mnangagwa, internet is likely to be shut down 3 days before SADC Summit. Someone needs to download VPN now. Remember, he has an obligation to send a message to the world that there is peace, unity, and he's a legitimate leader. Right? So you guys must also download the VPN because they are paranoid. Actually, they are paranoid because I actually saw Farai Marapira, you know, the spokesperson for ZANU-PF. Farai Marapira, that young guy, I was looking at him, I'm like, brother, you are a child. Do you even see that seasons are changing? Don't be too comfortable, right? Don't be too comfortable. He's actually said, he's threatening peace citizens that if you want to protest, we're coming for you. I'm like, hold on. You're not Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe. They do not have title deeds to this country. Sit down and humble yourself. He's threatening citizens. Mr. Farai Marapira. Threatening Zimbabweans. Take a listen.
Well, the opposition has always been like this whenever we have a program, whether it's local or on the international stage. They always try to come up with certain activities which malign and bring disrepute to our country. It is quite sad that we find amongst ourselves people who would rather make a caricature of this country instead of uplifting our image, instead of inviting people and showing what is beautiful about our country. So this is the sad part of the toxicity which pervades our body politic. But unfortunately for these people in the opposition, the country has moved on from these toxic politics. We've had this toxicity since 2000 with the inception of the MDC, and it continues in various names and under various formats, but it remains the same. So as ZANU-PF was simply saying, any toxicity will not be tolerated. Any attempts to subvert the law will not be tolerated. Any attempts to malign the good image of this country and its populace will not be tolerated. It is high time we start celebrating ourselves. It is high time we start marketing our country. It is high time we start enjoying a good reputation amongst other peers in the world, instead of being the ones who bring disrepute to ourselves. So those that are saying that they'll be in the streets, we will meet them in the streets. If they're going to be in the streets unlawfully, then they will see what the law is about. No one is above the law. The laws of the land are sacrosanct, and no one can subvert the laws of this land. On that is something that is cast in stone. The laws of this land can never be subverted by anyone at any given time.
All right, but Mnangagwa wants to subvert the very same laws. These laws only work when it's about ZANU-PF. They don't work when it's about the Zimbabwe as a whole. Don't forward. Don't even be afraid of him. He's crazy. In fact, this guy has to be arrested. These are threats that he's throwing at Zimbabweans. He deserves to be arrested. In fact, he needs to be arrested at the right time and forum. Okay, we need to start setting out, setting up systems that everyone will respect. No one is above the law, and nobody is better than another Zimbabweans. All of us, we are the same. And we all deserve respect. When Farai is speaking to us like he's speaking to kids or animals, bear in mind, Farai is addressing elders, married people, right? Husband and wives. He's threatening them. This is a young man who's threatening other married couple, other Zimbabwean people in the name of a political party. ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is not a Zimbabwe. Let that be known. Very clear. ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe. There are some people who say, now come to Zimbabwe and say whatever you are saying. Shut up. War is not being fought that way. It's like if I'm fighting with my enemy, I don't have to. I'm playing the cards. You need to play smart. It's a game of chess. You make the move, we make the move. Do you think that we are going to play that stupid? It's like, come here, and then you can talk here. Sit down. Farai is disrespectful. He is. And we must call him to order and say, no, we won't tolerate you disrespect. I had people who were angry on social media. They went after him, left, right, and center. People were angry. He was threatening because Dubeko, Dubeko who used to be the Triple C, like I said, I don't want to talk about Triple C. You will hear me now talk about Zimbabweans because ZANU-PF is using politics against Zimbabweans. So we must do away with political parties and focus on a Zimbabwean movement, right? You see what happened in Kenya? They were like, sit down and don't worry, talking to their politicians, sit down at home. Don't worry about us. We are dealing with this issue. So now we are like, Chamisa, don't worry. All politicians, all of y'all, look yourself in. Don't worry about that. We Zimbabweans are standing firm against nonsense. Farai, I call you out, and Farai Marapene said, you better keep quiet. The time of you intimidating people, threatening Zimbabweans, talk to them like you're talking to kids, has passed. We will not allow you to disrespect our parents, the elders in the city, disrespecting the church, disrespecting our children, which include the legacy of this country. Won't allow you. Because we see you guys with all these West people who are looting and your friends who are busy looting our resources. You are buddies. So we're supposed to suffer at the expense of who? We're supposed to suffer, right? And your friends are taking whatever they're taking, they're leaving the country. It has to stop. It has to stop. Apparently yesterday, there are people from who are working at Miku. The Miku Swoto is now got a new name, quote unquote. And the letter was sent directly to the to labor and also to the president, Mnangagwa, that they are being abused. There's this guy who is their leader, the manager, who is abusing and is a racist. And I said to myself, how can he not be a racist? You can see how ZANU-PF is treating citizens. Look, how far is talking to citizens. And you expecting those investors to respect you? Definitely not. When they are being given all these powers by politicians because they are eating together. In fact, people are alleging that water is not even for any investor. It belongs to Mnangagwa and his family. It's on X right now. You're just being played. It doesn't belong to any investor. Allegations are it belongs to President Mnangagwa and his family. All these are simply the fronts to lie to people. That's what they're saying. That's here on X. We've been played for too long. It's enough. Zimbabwe, it is enough. Now, the very same children of war vests, they said, just imagine. Interestingly, if the whole nation, including the military, decides to unite and stand up against his ruthless, undemocratic, illegal rule and lock all SADC leaders at the venue demanding his immediate resignation, what will happen? If people demand that Mnangagwa resign, but I also remember that Promise Mukwana is on record as saying that there won't be no chairmanship. There won't be any of that. We'll stand firm that it won't happen, which means something is going to give. I don't know what it is, but what I know is there's going to be something going on in the country. I don't know what it is, y'all. I'm just looking at what's going on and what's playing on social media, and I'm like, okay, whatever it is, you have my blessing. You're blessed. Whatever you're trying to do, I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, bless y'all, and believe in you. I do believe in you. Whatever you're gonna do to free us from this nonsense, I believe in you. Because guys, we are sick and tired of living in a society where we need to be afraid of our brothers. We're afraid of our sisters, our brothers terrorizing us. Because I'm asking questions, I'm like, even those that are in ZANU-PF, when you sit down in your homes, where do you think we are going with all these shenanigans that you're doing? Where do you think you're going? Dancing like you're crazy? Supporting something? How do you tell me that a man who is around 81, let's assume the 81 years that we are hearing is correct, and you are saying he must still remain until 2030 doing what? You don't even think at all about your purpose. You just think about bootlicking and get some small little trinkets. You don't think at all. And this culture that has been created in Zimbabwe, a culture of just getting things. You don't work for stuff. Do you even know how much sacrifice that the diaspora is making? And I've told you last time, if there ever be people who are sacrificing for Zimbabwe, are those that are in the diaspora. You don't know some people don't even eat fancy, right? Make sure that they are sending at least the little dollar to Zimbabwe. Take care of their families. When are you, Zimbabweans, there where you are, that are busy dancing from my airport, going to sacrifice for this country? By saying, no, we can't allow this kind of nonsense any longer. There's no leadership in Zimbabwe. There's simply friends who are just looting, nothing else. Because if there were leadership, we'd be having railway lines working. We'll be having bullet trains today as we speak. All these roads will be clean, 6 lanes. But today they're only fixing around SADC spaces. It's all about them. They'll rather loot the country dry to build in Shawasha. It's all about them. They can't even paint buildings in Arore. They can't paint. Sewer everywhere. The filthiness all over the place. Roads, like, you can't believe it. I've told you when I traveled to Zimbabwe the last time, right? And oh God, only God knows you. And I want to encourage any person in Zimbabwe to actually be able to book, don't book a flight early in the morning like I did. I was like, I need to be at work on time. And I bless my uncle. The way he drove, like it was crazy. When I go there, I was almost like having a heart attack there by that airport. I got off the car, I was like, oh yeah, finally. And I was like, this is crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of people we're dealing with. They can't even fix the road. Only now hoodwinking and lying. Before you know it, everything's going to be damned. It's all looting and looting and looting and looting. But hey, brothers and sisters, we are coming for you. Zimbabweans are coming for you. All that money, you bring it back as it is. Some of you, we're going to be locked up for life in prison for keeping our lives in poverty and ruin lives for the youth. Deranging our children with drug addiction. It's you and your evil ways. It's you. And we are watching you very closely. You know, Mutuli Ngube and Gwamatanga, our eyes are on you. We are watching you very closely. And all the dues that you are signing off, the monies that you are paying people who have never delivered the goods, and the kickbacks that you are getting, our eyes are on you. And very soon, you're going to pay for every wrong that you have done in that country. We are watching you. Not anymore. The Zimbabwe that's coming is going to be different. Our people will be have the freedom to speak truth to power, not using the gun against us. You're going to kill this time, we're going to die together. It's enough. We need the freedom. Our country, our people deserve respect. You need to stop your nonsense. We do not care anymore about your thugs that you can hire. You can do all manner of things. Nobody really cares. In fact, you're more than welcome to do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you must remember, you'll be held accountable for all that we have done. You won't escape. Mr. Gwamatanga, you're going to sell your $1 million watches that you're putting on these days. And we check your lifestyle. You can't even afford 1 million because your salary can't even afford $1 million watch. But does that sound familiar with what you heard from Kenya? When that man was speaking, apologizing to Kenyans, he said we used to get kickbacks from Dubai. Does that sound familiar to you when you remember the gold mafia? They were getting gifts, expensive watch from these friends. Do you remember the Maposto Hakainde, Akafika White, Vashita, all funny things? They were actually smuggling, allegations that they were smuggling our minerals to Dubai. You could see how confused those women were. Brand new handbags and bags, right? Woodwinking people like they're going for anything. You saw them now, they started playing around with the, with those, the Arabs, So please now gallivanting. Our eyes are on you. Right? Our eyes are on you. We are seeing you. Sirs and ma'ams, we are coming heavy on you. This time. Don't say we didn't warn you. I love you so much. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. And there's a good number of people here. I can't accept no engagement on TikTok. I cannot, not now. Maybe after this whole thing, after the entire show is over. And I know there are people who are saying, what happened to our song? Yeah, we're going to meet in Zimbabwe soon. So prepare either way. Make sure you are preparing very soon. must pray for each other, okay? Believe in one another, pray for each other, spread the fire of love. It's unity, it's love only. Bless you. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. Bye, YouTube. And I'm going to say with the TikTok here. Bye for now.